Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick my gun and accessories. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and customizations you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Miss Ducks for Life. It says Battlefield 4 cover art, M39 EBR, 8x bipod suppressor, M1911 TAC. You choose everything else apart from squad sprint, as he seems to be sprinting. Anyway, the suppressor isn't very good in BF3, especially on sniper rifles. This cover art looks so cool, and hopefully they'll give the suppressor a buff in BF4. Now, after reading this comment, I did have to go and take a look at that Battlefield 4 cover art showing the soldier sprinting, and sure enough, he's got a big M39 with a even longer suppressor on there. This rifle's actually pretty big. It looks a little bit awkward. I mean, granted, it is a long-range engagement rifle, so you're not going to really be using it in close quarters, in real life anyway, but in the game, let's see, with the suppressor on here, yeah, it does hurt the gun quite a bit. Normally, this rifle shoots at 570 meters per second, making it pretty darn effective at long-range targets or long-range moving targets. As you'll see from this video, I'm going to shoot spot on to a lot of guys who are jumping around and moving, and my bullets just aren't going to arrive at their target in time to actually get any hit markers. This is because the suppressor drops the bullet velocity all the way down to 320 meters per second, which is pretty darn slow, especially for a sniper rifle. It kind of makes it not very effective for anything that's moving or anything that's too far away. Now, combine this with the 8x scope, which is, gives you great accuracy at long range. You're really going to have to get used to not only aiming higher than your target, but compensating a lot for movement. Now, as if those things weren't really bad enough with the suppressor also reduces the damage drop-off range. This is really bad. Normally the gun takes all the way out to 75 meters to take this gun down to its minimum damage level. However, with the suppressor on here, it reaches its minimum damage all the way at 35 meters. That's not really very far at all, so almost all the targets I'm shooting at medium to long range, I'm hitting with the minimum damage. That minimum damage is 37.5. Means I'm going to have to hit them a minimum of 3 times to kill them. Headshots will not be one-shots to kill my opponents. So let's look at the pros and cons of the suppressor on a sniper rifle. I think you're going to find that in pretty much all situations it's not really worth it to put a suppressor on these guns. You get significantly reduced bullet velocity, making it very hard to hit moving targets at long range. The bullet velocity also increases the bullet drop by the time your bullet gets to its target, so you're going to have to aim even higher than your target, compensating for that. And on top of that, your damage drop-off range is pretty much going to be cut in half, so it's going to make it far less damaging at range. Suppressor basically takes a long-range weapon and says, yeah, this is going to be a close-range weapon now. Have fun with that. Now, the pro side of the suppressor is that you do not pop up on the minimap, so if you are playing a little bit of a lone wolf style play style on your own, not around other players who are firing off machine guns and pointing themselves out on the minimap, then you can potentially be a little bit more stealthy and just avoid contact with enemies. It's a great class to sneak up behind guys with, and it'll take them a little while to figure out where the shots are coming from, just because you're not pinging on the minimap. So that can actually be a really big benefit. I don't know if it's really worthwhile with this particular weapon though. Alright, let's take a look at this 8x scope and just how much of the screen it takes up when I'm just running around. It does actually block a significantly large chunk of your screen, so sometimes you're just hip firing away or you're just peeking around a corner not even zoomed in, and it's sort of obstructing your vision. I've never liked that about these big honkin' scopes, and I feel like in real life situations I might be holding my weapon a little bit lower when I'm looking around, and it wouldn't be obstructing my vision quite so much. Now when you zoom in, you get a nice targeting reticle. It makes it very easy to headshot targets at long range. You do lose all of your peripheral vision, so that is the trade-off. But I'm not sure if headshot precision is really that important with this weapon. Most of your targets are going to be a minimum of 2 shots to kill. That means if you do hit them in the head once, it's going to take at least 1 more shot to down them. A lot of them will be 3-shot kills. I find just aiming at the general vicinity of the target and putting several rounds downrange is enough to deal with them, and I think you can do that with most sights. So if you are putting a bunch of shots downrange, you can often compensate a little bit even with lesser magnification scopes, and you'll often get a little headshot in there. Even if you start off with a body shot or a leg shot, the follow-up shot could be a headshot, making it easy for you to down your opponent in 2 shots. Personally, I wouldn't go beyond a 3.4 times magnification sight with this sniper rifle. You're going to really want your peripheral vision when zooming in with this gun. And here I am using the 1911 Tactical. Great pistol, love it a lot. Of course, its magazine capacity is slightly limited, but you can see here in close quarters, I'm absolutely wrecking it. And this is just something that I would not be confident to do with the M39. The suppressor, another negative effect of the suppressor is really bad hipfire, which is something that you have to have for close quarter engagements. Now the M39 can definitely handle itself, but the sad thing is that it doesn't have a suppressor on here. The last thing I want to do is alert all the enemies to my situation, and for some reason these guys don't really seem to be that aware of where I'm hiding in this map. You would think they would look at the minimap and they would know, but in most situations you're going to give away your position with that unsuppressed weapon. So the one type of weapon that I would always recommend putting a suppressor on, or at least messing around with suppressors if you're interested, is your sidearm. It gives you that option to switch to it for close quarter kills, especially for the recon class if you want to be stealthy. Now if you're popping yourself on the minimap with a sniper rifle and you're shooting at long range targets, it's usually not that big a deal because most of your targets have got their minimap zoomed in to a point where they're not going to really see you on there anyway. Now I knew before getting into servers and using this setup how it was going to play out for the most part. You have a suppressed sniper rifle, you're going to have to join maps or game types that are going to take advantage of that. Team deathmatch is a good one. Just using that suppressor to try and work into behind enemy lines, not let the targets know where you are, and when you take out the enemies, their teammates generally don't know where you are. However, in close quarters here, I ended up switching to the M1911 just because that tac light is very, very useful. Sure, I'm spotting myself on close quarters, but even in these situations here, I think I got a lot of guys by surprise. Then when you get to long range, you can switch up to your 8x scope and deal with them. Now, although this setup is pretty much complete garbage in Battlefield 3, that's not to say that it would be in Battlefield 4. We've already seen evidence that they're sort of changing the angles of the weapons in Battlefield 4, and it looks like they're going to make it so that the scopes take up a little bit less of the screen when you zoom down sight, giving you more peripheral vision. It's kind of an exciting prospect, and it could change up the game for snipers. Also, we have no idea what suppression is going to be like in Battlefield 4, which is the other really big negative to sniping right now. And of course, they could take a completely different look at suppressors. I think the bullet velocity that they basically used to slow down the bullets when you use a suppressor is a bit unrealistic with these guns. I mean, there is lower velocity ammunition, but since they don't talk about that in Battlefield 3, it's pretty much just putting on a suppressor. I think the bullet velocity is just unrealistic. So there could be changed bullet velocity for BF4, and it could only be slightly reduced. We'll have to see what route they take. Anyway, that's it for this episode of Loadout. Not particularly fond of the loadout, but you definitely can trick out the M39 to be a very effective weapon. Don't forget to leave your comments down below letting me know what you would like me to run with for next week, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.